I found when I was a hedge fund manager, not only was it fun for me to invest in my money and other people's money, but it was fun to meet with the companies. And it was fun for a number of reasons. One reason was because these people were worth hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. And, they had some good information. So for me, I love to learn and grow every day. And when I was meeting with the company, I was learning and growing from the CEO and the chief financial officer and the chief investment officer, the chief strategy officer. Like these were the top people in the company. And I was learning for them. So the point is that these people were worth a ton of money and it rubbed off on me.
Are you looking for true personal freedom? The freedom to design a life you truly desire? Then you're absolutely in the right place. True personal freedom comes from when you take 100% responsibility and control of your money and your mind. Here you're going to learn ideas, tips, and wisdom that's going to help you bridge the gap from where you are now to your dream life in the future. My name is Randy Wilson, and welcome to the Rich Mind Podcast. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Rich Mind Podcast. And today, coming back to you with a part of the Financial Freedom series, that a collaboration between Joel Solomon and myself. We're trying to come up with as much value as we possibly can. Joel has a personal goal of helping thousands. And tell me, is it thousands, or you've actually said it like hundreds of thousands is what I think you've said. Is that right, Joel?
I've said at least 100,000. My goal is to help at least 100,000 people become financially free.
Okay, so folks, let that sink in as far as how big and massive Joel's goal is. And you being on this episode with us here today is going to help Joel serve you in that purpose of trying to help people become financially free in their lives. And if you've been on the previous episodes, we've gone through Joel's proprietary 5-step stock screen. If you've missed any of those episodes, I highly recommend you go back. We are through episode 5. This is actually going to be 6 in the series. Go back and start in step 1. Joel takes you through basics as far as how to learn about balance sheets and income statements and learning about where to get that information from with companies. And I'm not going to go through it all today. Not right now. This is not the time. But the point is, I would definitely want you to go back and try to get into those episodes. Basically, you're going to be sitting right next to a gentleman that has operated his own hedge fund to the point where back in 07 and 08, when the last crisis was going on, this is one point that I always love to bring up. He didn't lose money. He was positive for those years or for that time frame, which I would venture to believe that a lot of folks in his position struggled or definitely failed in that category. So if you want to learn how to find and pick winning stocks in 2023 and beyond, Joel's definitely your guy. So anyways, without further ado, Joel, welcome back to the show. I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to dig into here with this episode.
Thank you so much, Randy. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here again. And yeah, so we've talked a lot about the fundamentals of investing in stocks, from the basics on the balance sheet, income statement, my 5-step proprietary stock screen. We've talked about price targets. And what I'd like to do today is discuss from maybe a little higher level why doing it yourself, DIY investing, is so critical. And what I talk about in the 9 Money Rules millionaires use is a lot of people will come to me and say, Joel, but I don't have the time, and how much time do I need? And Joel, I don't have the money. How much money do I need? Peter Lynch said, invest in things you know about. You don't need to get into artificial intelligence, technology-driven companies to make a ton of money in the stock market or in other asset classes as well. And so let's talk first about the statement, I don't have the time. And I will tell you that's just a limiting belief. So what's a limiting belief? A limiting belief is a belief that's not serving you, that's not empowering, that's not providing you with the ability to create the abundance and prosperity in your life. So it's a belief that doesn't help you achieve your dreams and goals. And I want you to achieve your dreams and goals. So yes, first of all, how much time does it take? People ask me that all the time. And with me helping you, it'll be quicker. But even people who are just doing it themselves, the 5-step stock screen and price targets, in the beginning, it can take an hour. And then ultimately, as they get faster and faster, I've had clients take a minute to do a stock, right? They check, they see it fails step one, we move on to the next one. Fails step one, passes step one, fails step two, okay, next one. And so you can be really quick about finding companies that don't pass, and then it can take a little bit longer to find a company that does. So time, I will say a lot of people will spend hundreds of hours on a 5-hour event, their marriage. And I'm not saying don't do that, but if you're spending hundreds of hours on a 5-hour event, you could spend hundreds of hours on financial freedom. You don't need to, but you could. And it's not, it's not a 5-hour event. It's a 30 or 40-year event, and hopefully more, because I want you to be financially free now. And if you're 40, you got 50 years of life, why not be financially free now? So time is the first thing I hear. And then I've heard, how much money do I need to have to invest? So that's a limiting belief, because you believe that you need to have a lot to start. And I will say start with a little, because it's great to learn. And, even if you're making some mistakes, it's great to learn with a small amount, but that may be a limiting belief. So start with a small amount and grow it. Yeah, I had my daughter Lauren start with $1,000. You can start with $1,000 and learn and get a feel for, and you can even trade paper trading, which means that you're not actually trading real money, but you have like a fictitious account, a fake account, and you're trading with fake money, or paper money, and do it that way. But so I recommend, you don't need a ton of money to start. You can start with $1,000. Now commissions are zero. So you're not paying any commission to buy or sell stock. And so the hurdles to get good returns are much lower than they were 5, 10, 20 years ago. So you can start with a small amount. Another limiting belief I hear is, I'm not good with money. Well, yes, that's a massive limiting belief. We need to understand that, where did that come from? And you weren't born that way. When you were born, it wasn't like you were born with a bad experience or a bad relationship with money. So where did that come from? And let's figure out where that came from and change that. And you can use affirmations. I have affirmations on my website, solomore.com. I have audio files on my website as well that you can use for free. These are all for free. And you can change that affirmation that you may have been saying to yourself, I'm not good with money, to I'm getting better and better with money every day. I'm getting better and better with money every day. Now, I wouldn't recommend saying things you absolutely don't believe in, but if you're watching this podcast, you're getting better and better with money every day, right? So, and another one I've heard is, I'm terrible in math. And I say in the 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, if you have at least a 5th grade education, if you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, and it's all on your phone these days, right? So use your calculator on your phone. Then you can do the 5-step stock screen. You can calculate price targets. You can be an excellent investor. You don't need to have higher education in math. You need to have basic math. And then you can say, I'm getting better and better with math every day. I'm getting better and better with math every day. So those are some limiting beliefs that people come to me with when I tell them that I'm going to teach them, or I can teach them, about investing in stocks or real estate or other types of investments. So that's the first step, is to really understand what your thoughts are. What is your relationship with money? So let's get into DIY, why DIY investing is rule number 8. And we talked about this before we went on the recording, and it's so important to understand that the richest people in the world are DIY investors. They're not allocating their money to other people to invest. They take responsibility for their lives, all aspects of their lives, including their money. right? And the richest people in the world made a lot of money in the stock market or real estate or in their business. Think about Elon Musk, who I don't know the numbers exactly today, but say he's worth $300 billion. Did he give his money to other people? No, he invested it in and created his own businesses like Tesla, like SpaceX, right? So, and that's how he made his billions. He didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to give my money to somebody else to manage, and they're going to do good with it." He takes full responsibility for his life. And the richest people, if you look at the top 10, Steve Bezos on Amazon and others, Bill Gates created Microsoft. I mean, they all created businesses. They took responsibility for their lives and they did it themselves. They did DIY, invested. You may say it's in business, but they invested their own money in business.
You mentioned affirmations a little bit ago, and I just was curious on your experience with your self-talk is very important, which is affirmations, right? You're going to work on that. How important is it with being around the right people, modeling after the right thoughts, the right processes, right? As far as helping yourself with those belief systems, do you see any correlation with that at all as well?
Absolutely. Great question, Randy. So I found when I was a hedge fund manager, not only was it fun for me to invest in my money and other people's money, but it was fun to meet with the companies. And it was fun for a number of reasons. One reason was because these people were worth hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. And they were educated. They had some good information. So for me, I love to learn and grow every day. And when I was meeting with the company, I was learning and growing from the CEO and the chief financial officer and the chief investment officer, the chief strategy officer. These were the top people in the company, and I was learning from them. So the point is that these people were worth a ton of money, and it rubbed off on me. And they're no different than you and I. They have two eyes, a nose. They can smell just like you can. I mean, they're human. And maybe they have some interesting ideas, but they have 10 fingers just like we do, right? And so you're sitting across the table, they're just like you. And knowing that if you're spending time with these people, that their belief systems, their views on money is coming to you as well. And so, yes, I think everything is energy. Everything's even this laptop that I'm coming to you on, right? It's vibrating, right? Ultimately, if you look at it under a microscope, that each piece of matter is vibrating. It's energy. And so if you're interacting with people who are vibrating at a very high level when it comes to abundance, you have a choice, right? There's a gap. You can decide to stay way down here and in, maybe not as high level in your vibration around abundance and prosperity. You could feel that go down here, or you could rise up to where their level is. And when you do, you're going to create more abundance and prosperity in your life. So absolutely, who you're hanging, they say the 5 people you spend the most time with is, if you look at 5 years from now, that'll be your average salary, your average compensation. So spend more time with people that you admire, you look up to, go to conferences, spend more time on the Rich Mind podcast, because these are people who are wealthy. If you're binging on this show, your vibration is rising and you're more likely to create more abundance and prosperity in your life versus binging on a Netflix horror movie. That's not doing it for you. I believe it's not creating more abundance and prosperity. So absolutely important. So consider who you're spending the most time with. And it doesn't have to be people who are alive. I read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill twice a year. And I'm reading about, Thomas Edison and Henry Ford and Andrew Carnegie. So those vibrations of people who made so much money, those are equivalent to billions and billions of dollars today. And I'm getting that information twice a year. And my vibration is rising when I do that.
And as you raise your vibration, the opportunities, all of the things all the abundance, all of the things will begin to show up for you based on the level that you are keeping yourself. So the whole virtual mentors is exactly how I started off myself, right? Trying to collect friends, trying to collect people that, like you said, that aren't even alive. Jim Rohn is a huge influence on my life. I've listened to his content over and over and over to the point it almost was ingrained in my own thinking without even, obviously he's not alive. I've never met the man, but his influence will last for me forever with the vibration that I've been able to keep. So yeah, I truly believe that. And then once again, bringing you on this show with us, Joel, that's the whole point, right? You're raising us all up to believe that we can do all of this because number one, you've done it and you've done it successfully. You've created a simple system that is anybody can use with simple basic math. We just have to get the mindset right. And once we get the mindset right, we're off to the races, right? And that's the fun part. And that's what we're trying to do is provide people with that slingshot that just once they believe, then they can go. And it's like, yeah. And then that's when it becomes a lot of fun for us as well.
I just want to share one story briefly about relationship with money. I literally just got off a call with a woman who told me that she was in some conference and they paired up into groups of two, and one of them had to be quote unquote money, and the other person would talk to quote unquote money. And she said she was pissed off, she was angry, she was like, why don't you come to me? You know, this. So I said to her, do you think that was serving you? Because yes, you have a relationship with other people, but you also have a relationship with money. And I was at a networking event 5 months ago, right after my TEDx talk came out, and I brought QR codes and I was giving them to people so they could just scan the code and watch my free TEDx talk, How to Create Money Miracles. And I gave one QR code to this woman who said to me, I'm not going to watch that. And I was like, why? It's free and you can create some money. And she's like, I don't care about money. I just don't care about money. And I was like, huh. And it was funny because I, as a representative of money, felt taken aback, felt like, you know, she was angry at me. But then I was thinking, if that's her relationship with money, and she's not even open to watching something that could change her relationship with money, that money's going to flow out. It's not going to stay. It's not going to want to be with her. It's not going to want to enjoy their time with her. And so it's the same thing, you know, if you're angry or if you're like, I don't care, well, you have to care. You have to care about your relationship with money. You have to, you know, enjoy it and be willing to give it to others and share it with other people. Rule number 6 in the 9 money rules is giving. And how can you do that? You know, I also recommend splurging, you know, not hoarding, but splurging once a month. And I'm not saying go into credit card debt to do this, but, you know, get the massage, get the mani-pedi, right? Do something for yourself and splurge, because you're putting that money out there. If you're hoarding it, there's no flow. And money is energy. We talked and said everything is energy. Money is energy, right? And if you're not putting it out there, it can't flow back to you because you're hoarding it. And usually when you put it out there, it comes back in multiples.
100%. So that's where people try to, like you said, try to hang on to it. And I used to be this way as well. I've had to learn this. I've had to teach myself. I have had to work on my own personal mindset to believe that what you're saying is true. And I can say from my experiences that that's been my experiences as well. One thing I try to do with folks, and an easy way to increase what you give, is when we're out and about at restaurants or in a place where you're going to be tipping folks, give them some extra. Just give. I mean, 20% is the common, you know, whatever. I've seen folks get out a calculator and calculate whatever sum to the penny, and they don't want to give them a penny more or a nickel more. Just give them some money, right? Especially if it was great service, right? Let them know that you appreciate them. It's a simple, easy way to start that exchange of energy back and forth. And once you do that, number one, you're probably going to start getting better service because folks are going to realize that you're there. You know, you sit down at a table and they're going to realize that, hey, this person's here is, you know, communicating, right? Nice, pleasant. So money's a tool.
Yes,
It's no more or no less. It doesn't have to, it's energy and it's a tool. And if you treat it well, it's going to treat you well. And I think that's what I'm hearing you say, Joel. Is that, would you say
absolutely.
that's
Great.
accurate?
Absolutely. Treat it well and it'll treat you well. And I have one great story in the Nine Money Rules Millionaires Use about giving. When I wrote my first book, Mindful Money Management, and it came out, we figured out how to get it to be bestseller for the first weekend. But after that, sales were poor. And I was trying to figure out what I could do to improve the sales. And I was actually already working on the Nine Money Rules Millionaires Use. And it just popped into my head, give it away. So at the time, this was in 2018, February 2018, I was going into Manhattan a few days a week, and I would bring 2, 3, 5 books with me, and I would just find somebody on the street, in the cafe, in the office building, and just give a copy away. And I will tell you, 3, 4 weeks later, sales was going through the roof. And it didn't hit me until like I got the next month's sales that I was like, what just happened? How did that? And then I realized, oh, I gave away so many books on the last month that maybe there's something to this. And that's how rule number 6 came in to the Nine Money Rules Millionaires Use. I was
Love
thinking
it.
about it. I was working on it, and there it worked. So yes, you're changing your relationship with money and you also change your mindset when you do it by giving. You're saying to the universe, I have plenty to spare and share. Even if you don't, like I will tell you, this is probably one of the most powerful of the 9 money rules millionaires use, is to give, because when you're feeling most in lack, if you give, you're kind of tricking both your subconscious mind and the universe to say, I do have plenty to spare and share. So when you're most feeling lack, and it doesn't even have to be money, by the way, it could be a book, right? Or it could be, you might have a special talent to share that with the world. It could be your time. Your time is very valuable. Calculate it as at least $100 an hour. Some maybe $200, $300, $400 an hour. But you can write that down when you give. Have a giving journal and write down in the giving journal, like you gave an hour of your time, that's at least $100. And think about how much time you're giving. You're providing massive value in that time. That's going to come back to you, and know that's going to come back to you, and then it will.
So giving starts the receiving process. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, 2 years ago, so at the beginning of the year, I tried to do a little bit of an exercise. I picked like a word for the year. And my word, I believe in 2022, was plant. And that word plant meant to give, right? Planting seeds. And I spent the entire year trying to give and give and give without ever asking for anything in return. And I will tell you that in that process, and part of that process was meeting you, Joel. I'm not going to lie. That was, you're right. So I've met you. I've met so many other folks that I just keep trying to plant and give and give and give. And it keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. So I 100%, it doesn't have to be money. I know we're kind of talking about money through this conversation, but it can be, I say it can be as simple as a smile. You give somebody a smile. You can give somebody your energy, meaning you just show up like present and listening. You can give somebody your attention. It can be so simple, but just those simplicities can completely change your external world. Once you get that internal world, your mindset, when you get those, that, point in the right direction and going in to give versus to receive. And I love that.
Yeah, I play a game every morning. I jog every morning, about 4 miles. And so actually this morning I was thinking, how many people did I pass? I was counting at the end of my jog, and it was about 10 people. And I play this game where I smile at everyone I pass by and say good morning, and see how many people smile back.
I do that too. I did not on a run, but I do that too, right? When I'm passing folks, or even in the neighborhood, right? You just wave and smile, and just, you see how many actually get back to you. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing to see the reactions of folks.
And it's kind of a game to see, okay, how many people, what's their mood? It's usually early in the morning. It's around 7:30 in the morning that I'm jogging, and so it's okay. What's their, are they they still waking up, they're walking. Most of them are walking, obviously. This morning there were two that were jogging, but it was just interesting. Smile and give the pleasurable good morning and see how many smile back. And so it's just it's a little bit of the giving that I do every day. And like you said, a smile can change a life. You're smiling at somebody who's really down. They're like, oh, like
You
that
never
was
know
pleasant.
who you're going to be in contact with at any given time and how that one interaction could completely change the other person's or even your own life, which is super fascinating. Yeah, I go through that process a lot. And it's interesting, the ones that you can tell folks that are either in their head or, maybe not as positive of a mindset, right? And so, folks, if you're listening to this, just give it a shot. It doesn't cost you anything, maybe a little bit of uncomfortable feeling inside, but I'm telling you, if you do it a few times and you start getting those positive responses back from folks, a wave, a smile, or a hey, you know what I mean, a conversation. Imagine that. I'm telling you, if you do that consistently, who knows what that could lead to? And as I mentioned, that led to Joel and I connecting, and this was well over a year ago now, maybe a year and a few months, and we just keep collaborating back and forth. It's just a lot of fun. It's just been a matter of just giving. I'm trying to giving to you and vice versa. And then at the same time, we're trying to give to the audience. It's just a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So let's continue a little bit more, because DIY, back to the main topic for today's podcast, it can be controversial because there are a lot of people out there. There's a big industry of people who are advising others who are telling you can't do it yourself. Okay. And there are some frictional costs involved when other people take your money. They're going to charge you a fee. Usually it's around 1% of your money, and that can compound over time to tens of thousands. And depending on how much money they're managing for you, it could be $100,000 over years or more. So that's one, there's a frictional cost of the cost of actually doing it. And the second is, by the way, you care. Well, we talked about your relationship with money. You should care more about your money than anyone else, and not be like, oh, I don't care about money, or I'm angry at it. No, you should care more about it than anyone else. And so I will tell you, as being a former hedge fund manager, I had to go out and market my fund to get people to invest with me. So I wasn't spending 100% of my time looking after my money and the other investors who had already given me the money. I was going out and asking people for more to manage. That is a distraction. And I'll fully admit it's a distraction. And so that happens to every mutual fund portfolio manager who's managing your money. They're going out and they're going out to institutions to ask them if they can manage those institutions' money as well. And for some mutual fund managers, portfolio managers, that can be up to 50% of their time. They're not doing the portfolio management of your money. They're going out to market the fund, and that will impact returns. And then that's for actively managed. Now, the difference between active management and passive management is passive is you're just investing in an exchange traded fund or the overall market. Here, these are actively managed funds where they're taking a fee and they're trying to beat that index. And most financial advisors are not going to take your money and put it in an index fund. They're not getting paid for that. So they'll give you, there's tens of thousands of funds out there that are trying to outperform with one hand tied behind their back, or one and a half. It's really hard to outperform over long periods of time. And they're diversified, which, just to tease, we'll get into next time, rule number 9, which is don't diversify, and I'll explain why. But they're working with at least one hand tied behind their back because of the fees and because of the marking that they have to do for the fund. And again, like, I'm an advocate, it may sound self-serving, but I'm an advocate of DIY because I truly believe you're the best steward of your own money. And, people will say to me, I don't have the time to manage my own money. But I know I waste at least an hour a day, 7 hours a week, doing things like watching a movie or doing other things that I could be being more productive. So I'm pretty sure everyone's wasting 7 hours a week. So you can find 2 or 3 hours a week to manage your own money. And I hardly advise that because you're going to get a better return on it.
So that's where in the Rich Mind podcast, that's exactly, if you listen to the intro, that's what I stand for, is take personal responsibility for your money and your mind. And we've covered both of those topics today, your mindset and your money. You've got to take responsibility if you want to see the outcome in the way that this envisioned for yourself, for your future. You've got to take it in-house. And DIY is exactly what you're sharing with us today. Now, you also said that you offer coaching and you help folks, right? You're a prosperity coach. You help folks with their finances. Can you go into detail as far as, say, someone thinks, Joel, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I know I need to find my time. Maybe you could help me pinpoint where I need to go, where I need to start. What are the best ways for folks to kind of get to know you a little bit better on a more of a one-on-one to learn what they can do to take personal control, right, of their money and their mind?
Yeah, thanks, Randy. So first of all, I give everybody 30 minutes free. So sign up for your 30 minutes free coaching and show up. Show up. 90% of success is showing up. So show up for that 30 minutes free, and you're going to get some powerful tips during those 30 minutes. So that's the first step. The next level up would be my almost free online course based on the 9 money rules. It's $47. And then the next level is, I have a membership where I actually answer questions every single week for up to 1 hour on any topic related to investing, money mindset, manifesting. It's 12:30 Eastern every week, almost every week. I do travel, so if I'm traveling overseas somewhere, it's probably not happening. But say it's 48 to 50 weeks a year, I'm answering questions, and that membership has 7 hours worth of videos that you can watch over 6 months, plus 20 guest experts that have added content on their area of expertise. And then I have the whole Infinite Possibilities course, which is a 90-page workbook and hours of content included in the membership. And then the next level up is the one-on-one coaching, where I do individualized, I believe everyone has a place where they can become rich really quick. And it could be stocks, it could be options, it could be real estate, it could be your business. And once I can help you get there by giving you the techniques and the mindset piece to move quickly to financial freedom.
And that's the key, folks. It's both. It's the mindset and the tactics to get the financial piece together. And that's the secret, I believe, that not a lot of folks are talking about out there, in my opinion. The universe that I follow, right? You don't hear a lot of people talking about the mindset along with, it's always about making money, buying these businesses, flipping this, flipping that. But they don't go into the ideas of what it takes to take control of your mindset to have those positive results more frequently as you keep moving forward, which I think that's what separates you, Joel, with a lot of the folks that I come in contact with. So kudos to you for providing that level of service to your clients. So folks, go out there, get on Joel's calendar, get your 30-minute call with Joel and show up. We were joking about that before we hit record. Show up. There's no obligation. He's going to pour into you just like he's trying to do in this episode here today. And I'm telling you, when you walk away from that 30-minute call, you're going to have so many different ideas and some clarity that you never really even imagined that was even possible. So take some time, get in contact with Joel. I'll have all the links in the show notes for all of the other things that he mentioned as well, as far as his coaching, his membership class. All of those things will be in the show notes. So definitely take a look at those as well. So Joel, man, I really appreciate this one. I think this was a lot of fun. I think we'll put a bow on this one today, and we'll come back with the next episode. We'll go into more of the mindset, more of all of the great things that's going to help you, Joel, reach your goal of helping over 100,000 people become financially free. And folks, you could be one of them. And I encourage you to get a hold of Joel and see how he can help you get there. So go out there, have a fantastic day. And until the next episode, everyone, we'll talk soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining me on the Rich Mind Podcast. I hope you found a ton of value in this episode. If so, I'd really appreciate a 5-star review, and you can also share it with your family and friends. And as my mentor Jim Rohn shared with me, in order to have more, you must first become more. And in order to become more, you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. So go out there today and work harder on yourself to become more and build the life of your dreams. Until next time, my friends.